गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो ब्रवीमि संस्कृतं वाचा ध्यायामि संस्कृतं हृदा कुर्वे सेवाञ्च कायेन वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम् यो नरः संस्कृतव्योम्निह्यालयं रमते मुदा संस्कृतिं चैव संस्कारं विन्दते नात्र संशयः। नमः सभायै सभापतिभ्यश्च अत्रागतेभ्यः ज्ञानवृद्धेभ्यः वयोवृद्धेभ्यः शीलवृद्धेभ्यः अनुभववृद्धेभ्यः तपोवृद्धेभ्यः मातापितृभ्यः शिक्षकेभ्यः संस्कृतरसिकेभ्यः बालेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः हृत्पूर्वकनमस्काराः स्वागतम्। A very good morning to one and all. A warm welcome to the launch of the world's first Sanskrit e-learning OTT. We are indeed very privileged, honored to have amidst us Padma Bhushan Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan ji, a legendary visionary who revolutionized the IT industry in India as our chief guest for today. We are also blessed to have with us a very distinguished management scholar and a pioneering IKS educator, Professor B. Mahadevan ji. And Shri K. Vaidyanathan ji, a long-term ITC leader, a strategic financial steward, an award-winning CFO, and our very own mentors, Srimati Rama Shivaraman ji, the chairperson of Vyoma Advisory Board, and Dr. B. Krishnamurthy ji, chairman of Vyoma Labs. We shall begin today's program with Deepa Prajwalanam, lighting the lamp, symbolizing dispelling the darkness of Agnatimira, ignorance, with the light of Jnana. I am pleased to request the dignitaries on stage for lighting the lamp. दीपज्योतिः परं ब्रह्म दीपः सर्वतमोपहः दीपेन साध्यते सर्वं संध्यादीप नमोस्तुते संध्यादीप नमोस्तुते। I request the dignitaries to please take their seats on stage. Nandi Vignopashantaye. We shall now invoke the blessings of Bhagavan for his eternal guidance and grace to remove all obstacles. I invite Srimati Shubha Prasad Bhagini, Srimati Raksha Shankar Narayanan Bhagini to render the prarthana. They are going to be rendering Shri Govardhana Girisham in Raga Hindola, set to Tala Rupaka, composed by Shri Muthuswami Dikshitar. They are going to be accompanied on the Mridangam by Shri Shreyas Raghavan.
Shri Guru Guha Manolasam Ravi Shashi Nayana Vilasam Ramaniya Mukha Bhasam Shiva Ganadi Vishwasam Shri Guru Guha Manolasam Gama Gama Sagasa Nisa Nida Nisa Magama Gama Gama Sagasa Nisa Nida Nisa Magama Gama Dhamada Nida Nisa Magasa Nisa Nida Magasa Nigo Girisham Smarami Anisham Gopikadi Manoharam Garvitakam Sadiharam Govardhana Girisham
Dhanyavadaha. That was a very soulful rendition invoking the grace and blessings of Yogeshwara Jagadguru Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Vyoma Linguistic Labs Foundation was founded in 2012 by Dr. B. Krishnamurti ji, Shri P. Sudhir Patwardhan ji and Dr. Venkata Subramanian ji to create cultural, dharmic consciousness globally without the constraints of location, nationality, age, etc. With this vision, Vyoma has become a pioneer in Sanskrit e-learning and has today reached and impacted more than 1 lakh learners across the globe. This has been an intellectual renaissance, taking ancient Indian wisdom to one's doorstep through technology. The impact stories we hear make this journey truly fulfilling and rewarding. I now invite Shri Vishwanathan Krishnan Mahodaya, the CEO of Vyoma Labs, to render the welcome address and give us a brief overview of the path trekked by Vyoma till now. Over to you, Vishwanathan Mahodaya.
मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुल्लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। नमः सदसे, नमः सदसस्पतये, नमः सखीनां पुरोगाणां चक्षुषे, नमो दिवे नमः पृथिव्यै। अयि भोः संस्कृत संस्कृति संस्कार हितेच्छुकाः, क्षणमिदम् ऐतिहासिकं वर्तते। किमर्थम् इति पृष्टे सति अद्य व्योमसंस्थया 10 अधिकवर्षेभ्यः शताधिकविद्वज्जनैः निर्मितानां श्रव्य दृश्य पठ्य पाठ्य क्रीड्य आदि सर्वेषां तन्त्रांशानां नूतनप्रक्रमे नूतन अन्तर्जाले इदानीं लोकार्पणं करणीयम् इति ईश्वरेण संकल्पः सञ्जातः अस्ति। तदर्थम् ऐतिहासिकक्षणमेव इदम्। ईश्वरगुरुकृपया अद्य आयोजिते अस्मिन् महोत्सवे प्रत्यक्षरूपेण समागतेभ्यः भवद्भ्यः सर्वेभ्यः, परोक्षरूपेण अनुग्रहं कुर्वद्भ्यः सर्वेभ्यः अपि वयं हृत्पूर्वक साञ्जलिबद्ध नमस्काररूप स्वागतं व्याहरामः। The Nandi Rupa invocation Prarthana which was sung now is absolutely apt to this occasion. Govardhana Girisham Anisham Smarami Gopikadi Manoharam Garvita Kamsadi Haram. I am sure when all of us listen to this song, we get that bhava. Govardhana Giri represents the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, the Indian knowledge systems, which is currently being uddharanam or being uplifted by many people. And the Gopikas are the selfless individuals, many of you are assembled here, who are devotedly working for the cause of Sanskritam, Samskriti, Samskara. And all the Kamsas who are trying to do some dushprachara, misrepresent, tesham haranamapi jayamanam vartate idanim. And at this divine moment, we have the great bhagya wherein we don't have one Govardhana Girisha. We have Pancha Govardhana Girishas here. Each of them, they have done this Govardhana Dharanam not for just 7 days like our Krishna. They have been doing it for decades and decades together. So again and again, Namaskara Rupa Swagatam to everyone. First and foremost, we have Senapati Shri Kris Gopalakrishnan Mahodayaha. Bharatiya Tantragyana Kshetre Visheshataya Tatra Vidya Kshetre Shodha Kshetre Avishkara Kshetreshu Swa Tanu Mano Dhana Chintanena Sahayam Kurvantaha Santi Shri Kris Gopalakrishnan Varyaha. His contributions, if you see, either mentoring entrepreneurs at the technological space, the brain search which is happening, research which is happening, various centers across leading universities, or the startup mentoring, or the Itihasa related, IKS related contributions, all of them are civilizational in nature. They have a very long-term, large-term impact on entire humanity. Tebhyah vayam punah swagatam vyaharamah. प्रबंध क्षेत्रे इत्युक्ते मैनेजमेंट क्षेत्रे, वेदांत क्षेत्रे अध्ययनम अध्यापनम भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा क्षेत्रेषु अपि वैश्विक स्तरे कार्यं कुर्वन्तः सन्ति अस्माकं वरिष्ठ प्राध्यापकाः प्रोफेसर बी महादेवन वर्याः. I don't know if he has a count of the numerous organizations in which he is in an executive, directory or leadership positions. At least we have never been able to count that. That is the number of contributions, national, international level, from Jagat Gurus to ministers to leaders to many people. All of them he has been supporting and getting blessings from them and contributing to the space of Indian knowledge systems. Today he is one of the greatest authority in the space of Indian knowledge systems, and we are extremely fortunate to have his presence today. Tebhyah hardam swagatam vyaharami. Vitta vyavastha kshetre लेख्य परीक्षण क्षेत्रे इत्युक्ते फाइनेंस एंड ऑडिटिंग तादृश क्षेत्रेषु धार्मिक रीत्या दीर्घकालं परिश्रमं कृतवन्तः अस्माकं वैद्यनाथन महोदयाः. बाल्यादपि ते चिन्मय संस्था कक्ष्याभिः वेदांत श्रवणं कुर्वन्तः सन्ति. तदर्थमेव बहु संस्थाभिः बेस्ट CFO अवार्ड प्राप्यापि विद्या विनय संपन्नाः सर्वदा सन्ति एते. So it is a rare combination, finance expertise on one side, Vedantic knowledge and experience on the other side. He brings both of these with the dharma, artha, purushartha coming together, representing the Manu Vakya, parityajet artha kamau yausyatam dharma varjitau. So he brings together and he is supporting so many organizations in that ritya. So tebhyah swagatam vyaharami. शिवः शक्त्या युक्तः एव प्रभवितुं शक्तः भवति. तादृश शक्ति स्वरूपिणी अस्ति अस्माकं रमा शिवरामन् महाभागाः. सा तत्र तंत्रज्ञान क्षेत्रे वा भवतु, संगणक क्षेत्रे वा भवतु, इदानीन्तन कृत्रिम बुद्धिमत्ता क्षेत्रे वा भवतु अतीव महत्कार्यं साधयन्ती अस्ति, कुर्वत्यः सन्ति एताः अस्माकं रमाशिवरामन् महाभागाः. The only introduction she kind of always prefers that everybody gives is she is a lifelong student of Vedanta and she is the disciple of Swamiji. So Swami Paramarthananda ji. So with that shows her true Vedantin qualities, because Vedanta Jnanam along with Tarka Shastras Upayukta Jnanam, the number of karyas she does which are Chhatropayogi is innumerable. All students should be very grateful to her. Tabhyah aham swagatam vyaharami. Ante pyanantarupena पितृतुल्याः अस्माकं कृष्णमूर्ति महोदयाः. बाल्यादपि अस्मान् बहूनपि समयोचित प्रज्ञया अध्ययन क्षेत्रे कार्यक्षेत्रे समुचित उपायान् उपदेशान् अपि दत्वा अस्मान् लालितवन्तः पालितवन्तः एते. Generally our parents are very strict, but he took that position of a very soft parent and mentored us in this journey. And today, as a chairman of Vyoma Linguistic Labs Foundation, under his daily oversight, Vyoma is slowly coming to terms with scale and sustainability. He has authored many books: Digital India Transformation, Governance Transformation, Change Management, 7 Qs for Success, How to Become a Woman Entrepreneur. These kind of books has been authored, and he is in the think tank of many national organizations. Tebhyah swagatam vyaharami. Ram ram ram. विशेष रूपेण चेन्नईतः आगतवती अस्माकं महापेरियवा भक्ता इत्येव Khyata Shri Vanishri Raghupati Bhagini. Tasyai, she is a great Sanskrit educator and a software architect. Her courses in Vyoma are very popular. First time when we thought you cannot teach Rangoli or tying garlands online, she made it possible, and the 3 batches have been done. Almost 1,000 students have participated and she has taught them very beautifully. Punaha swagatam vyaharamaha bhagini. Tasyepi ekam pushpam dadatu. Our board of director Sudhir Patwardhan Mahodaya is also on the way. So tebhyaha api vayam swagatam vyaharamaha. Gopikaha iti asmabhihi uktam kila. Many organizations and individuals which are working in the field of Samskrita Samskriti Samskara, tebhyaha tesham bhagavate vadanti Vande Nandavrajastrinam Padarenum Abhishnasaha Yasam Harikatodgitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam. Tadrisha Gopikaha Atra Alvar Mahodayaha from Samskriti Foundation. He is on the way. Mahodayaha Saputrena Agata Putrabhyam Agatavantaha Tebhyaha from Vishwakshema Gurukulam Tebhyaha Swagatam. Director N.S. Suresh Mahodaya from Surasraswati Sabha, Tebhyaha Swagatam. From Samyak Foundation, from Karnataka Adhyapaka, Praudashala Adhyapaka Sangha, Veerabhadraya Satish Mahodaya and Narayan Bhatt Mahodaya. From Samskrita Bharati, Satish Mahodaya, Samskrita Bharati Sachin Katale Mahodaya, Ajit Padmanabhan Mahodaya from Who We Are, Vikram Kulkarni Mahodayaha have also come. Dr. Jayaraman Mahodayaha from S. Vyasa University, Vinayak Rajat Bhatt Mahodayaha from Chanakya University, Kartik Mahodayaha, Idanim te asmakam vyoma adhyapakaha eva sanjataha. Evam bahavaha janaha atra kainkarya rataha santi tebhyaha swagatam vyaharamaha. Punaha our EWC members, executive working members, Vishwanathan Ganeshan Mahodayaha, BK Shivakumar Mahodayaha, all the volunteers of Vyoma, teachers of Vyoma, our students of Vyoma, parents of these students who are encouraging the children, antimatter team which has actually done the graphics for the Shishugitani book which is going to be launched today. A warm welcome to one and all here. Also a special welcome to the press media friends who have taken this job of spreading this message. Sadvishaya is very difficult to be spread across. Therefore a special thanks to the media people who have come here and who have taken up this cause to spread it across. And many of our Sahridayas, Sahasadhakas are watching this online. Tebhyaha api swagatam vyaharamaha. Ante pyanantarupena sarvebhyaha guruvaryebhyaha matripitribhyaha jyeshtebhyaha bhagavate cha Ananta Koti Namaskaran Samarpayami. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranata Klesha Nashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Ram Ram Ram.
Dhanyavadaha Vishwanathan Mahodaya. Kshanamidam Aitihasikam Vartate. This is truly a historical moment as we have the very distinguished guests here blessing this first launch of Sanskrit OTT in the e-learning format. We have now come to the most awaited part of today's event, the panel discussion on democratizing Indian knowledge through technology. I invite our distinguished panelists, Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan Mahodaya and Professor B. Mahadevan Mahodaya, and our moderator, Srimati Vanishri Raghupati for the panel discussion. I request the other dignitaries to kindly take their seats in the audience. We have a stellar panel today and discussion of this topic by intellectual leaders perfectly ties in with the motto of Vyoma, tradition meets technology. Reclaiming the glorious intellectual, cultural past of Bharatam and reviving the ancient Indian knowledge systems, Bharatiya Jnana Parambara, is not merely of historic or academic interest, but is necessary to unveil the wealth of knowledge that IKS offers in various domains, including sciences, linguistics, medicine, management, mathematics, astronomy, law, finance, Shilpa Shastram, and so on. The eternal, evergreen values ingrained in IKS guide humanity in the present and for all times to come. Today's discussion is very apt in exploring the role of technology in democratizing IKS. And we are having this panel discussion by intellectual leaders who have led various organizations and humanity. As we listen to our esteemed panelists, if any of you have any questions for them, please write them down in the cards which have been circulated. Based on the discretion of the moderator, a few questions will be taken up after the panel discussion.
Check, mic check.
I now request Srimati Vanishri Raghupati Bhagini to open the panel discussion. Over to you, Vanishri ji. Thank you.
धन्यवादाः श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः महापरिवार शरणं सर्वेभ्यः नमस्काराः. It's an honor to be here on this historic day. Let's delve right into the discussion. So in the recent years, we've been hearing quite a bit about Indian knowledge systems, IKS. Now, different people seem to have different interpretation, different understanding, sometimes even different definition of what IKS actually means. Professor, what do you think the governance leaders should do to come up with a unified, concise, clear definition of what IKS is?
Good morning. Sarvebhyah mama namaskaraha. I think this whole idea of Indian knowledge system is an attempt on our part to recreate something after a discontinuity of 200 years nearly. So anything which has a discontinuity of 200 years, it is very natural that there are a whole lot of confusions that can actually happen. And so the kind of questions that you are asking belong to that category. No, I am not even very sure we should, whether we should have a very tight definition for Indian knowledge system. But certainly I think there are a few things that are very important for us to know. First thing is, there are certain things which make Indian knowledge system a little different from, let us say, some other knowledge system if we were to speak. First of all, it is a civilizational corpus running to several millennia, 7-8 millennia at least. So it is first of all a civilizational corpus. So when you say it is a civilizational corpus, it is quite expected that it has to be very, very vast. Because after all, as time passes, we have more understanding, refine our thoughts, we redo our assumptions, identify new things. So a civilization which is an uninterrupted civilization in the world. Ours is the only civilization which is uninterrupted for 7 millennia or 8 millennia. Therefore, it must have a vast repository of knowledge which should form part of it. The only things that we need to understand is very distinctly, there has been a great emphasis on a oral tradition.
Absolutely.
Even when we have lipi, when I say oral tradition, there are two parts to it. There is one oral tradition which does not have a lipi. For example, the grandmother will say, what should I do when you fall sick? Or if the sun is a little, there is too much of cloud on a particular day, what we should do. That kind of a oral tradition is without a lipi. But then what I am talking, which is very distinctive, is all those which have a lipi, we have a very strong background and a tradition of oral. So much so, UNESCO has actually classified Vedas as a heritage. Normally, UNESCO heritages are all physical structures, but here is Vedas. So this oral tradition has put something very unique, which we are not used to the other cultures. For example, when something is very oral, concise is the name of the term. It has to be very concise. I mean, how much, otherwise, how do you very efficiently retain it in your mind? Everything is here. So therefore, it has to be very concise. So we had a very strong tradition of sutras. The very idea of a sutra tradition used to make it concise. You had simply say, Yamata Rajabana Salagam. Most of the ideas on Alankara Shastra will flow out of just one sutra, which you can use for 2-3 hours to expand. So this is very unique. Secondly, when it is a oral tradition, unlike printed media that we are so much used to, or even the internet and so on, you cannot have one book for mathematics, one book for philosophy, one book for chemistry, one book for spirituality, because that's not how an oral tradition works. You have to combine all of them into a single piece. So every one of our authors had a multi-dimensional perspective to what they have to say. So much so, Shankaracharya in his Yoga Bhashya will bring place value of numbers. How does he bring it? He says there is this Devadatta. This Devadatta is father to someone, son to someone, brother to someone, son-in-law to someone. And then he says, this is like the number assuming different positions in the digit and then taking a different value. This is what he says in his Yoga Bhashya. So we have math, we have Vedanta, you have spirituality, all weaved into one. Therefore, Indian knowledge system is a three-dimensional corpus which are weaved into one. You have spiritual dimensions to it. You have religious dimensions to it. After all, religion and spirituality are so very closely connected, intertwined in our culture. And you may have the third dimension, if I use a word something like secular, what I mean is something which is used for our day-to-day. How do you make things efficient? How do you do things faster? How do you, inspire people? That kind of knowledge is also available. All of them are interweaved into most of the pieces. In fact, I use Bhagavad Gita to show all the three dimensions again and again, saying it's intended for all the three. So therefore, that is how I will define Indian knowledge system. But in terms of any other definition would be a little difficult, because after all, it's a civilizational corpus which runs for 6-7 millennia.
Right. So it looks like we can't just put it into one bucket and say this is what it is, right?
That may not be a very nice idea.
Efficient way of doing it. Thank you for that, Professor. To you, sir. So when he was talking about IKS, he said it's several millennia. So Bharatiya Parampara Jnanam, right? That is what IKS is. So immediately it transports us to a bygone era. So to this world today, where things change so quickly and everything becomes obsolete very quickly, do you think IKS is still very relevant? Is it important? If so, how?
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this. It's an honor and a privilege for me. And I will also congratulate my Linguistics Lab Foundation for bringing out the first OTT platform in the world and taking this treasure trove of knowledge to the world. To your question, it's an honor and privilege for me to be on the stage with Professor Mahadevan. I don't have the depth of knowledge that he has, so I will give you my perspective on these questions. And the question on relevancy, see, to me, Indian knowledge system is, it's a series of, if I may say, texts, a series of knowledge pearls that I believe is relevant even today. And it's amazing to me that, several millennia back, people were able to create something that is timeless, knowledge that is timeless. Imagine all the tools that we have today, but they didn't have any of these tools, or we don't know what tools they had. We are not aware of that. But in spite of that, they have accumulated and codified this for generations to come. We in India have treasured this and managed to bring this knowledge to modern era. I think some of that knowledge is lost. So in order to make sure that it's understood first, we need to understand the language, learn the language, and which is what I believe Vyoma Labs is doing, making the language accessible, available, democratizing this to the entire world. With that, you are able to then understand the treasure trove of knowledge that is there, text that is there. Because you have to go to the original text to understand the true meaning. And the true meaning is also only understood if you understand the culture in which it is written, which is also very, very important, because out of the context, it's probably not going to make sense to you. So, it is relevant today because, the things that it contains, I believe, again, it's my own perception of this, is about, the sciences from their perspective, and it's very, very broad. Talked about mathematics, talked about philosophy, talked about law, talked about how do you live, and to me, and again, because of my interest in the brain, brain is the largest computer in the world created by nature. We still have not fully understood the brain. I believe that the capacity of the brain is almost infinite. Nobody has understood. It has to be infinite because in those days, they just used the brain to create all this knowledge. Now, from what I understand from this knowledge system, they even contemplated, or they even understood that in order to program this brain and manage this, create, enable you to maximize the use of this brain, you need to follow certain practices, yoga, meditation, etc., and even diet, etc. All of these are important. So how do you program the brain to maximize the capabilities that you have been given by God? So Indian knowledge system is relevant today, is about, how do you live, how do you practice things, how do you get discipline, how do you control your brain, how do you live longer, how do you, and every aspects of it, and how do you build a house, how do you live harmoniously with your neighbors, with society. All of this is relevant. I can't figure out anything that is not relevant. Of course, we need to reinterpret that, and which is also our tradition, right? Over the years, these have been reinterpreted and made contemporary. So Professor Mahadevan teaches management to executives, right? And he brings the relevance there also, and interprets it so that they can apply it and use it. Similarly, I also believe that knowledge by itself is okay, but it's not fully useful. Applying that knowledge to our day-to-day life, our businesses, our work, is where it's the importance of knowledge comes. Again, it's what IK is all about, applying the knowledge. So it's relevant today, and I hope that this is something that we can bring back to the world. Right? This is, I believe, India's best contribution to the world. This is our knowledge. And now we need to take it to the rest of the world, which starts with learning Sanskrit.
Thank you, sir. So to me, it seems like IKS actually is the way of life, right? Somewhere I think the disturbance that we are facing today is because of the 200-year disconnect that has happened. So reviving that will put a lot of us into peace. It will revive our culture, tradition, and which is where, tradition meets technology. So before we delve into democratization of IKS using technology, could you just share a couple of examples of IKS and how it is relevant to today's modern world? I think audience would be able to connect better if they have a couple of examples.
Yeah. So first of all, I will touch on what a remark that Chris made about Sanskrit. I will just spend a little time there before.
Sure.
See, I am reminded of this mantra in Mundakopanishad. It says, Andena niyamanaha yathandaha. So it's a very nice mantra which says, it looks like there are a dozen blind people, and this one blind man said, I will find the way out for you. That kind of a problem we should not get into. See, knowledge, what I call it as, patramasti, patrasya ante vastuhu asti. Vastu asti. So you have something inside a patram. Now we cannot ask, is patram important or the item that is inside the patram important? Both are important, because unless the patram is in good shape, in fact, in one of the Shankaracharya's Bhashya, this example is there, that if the curd part is broken, the curd is spilt. There is an example like this. So the patram is as important as the vastu. So lot of our knowledge, in fact, the entire repository originally started in Sanskrit. Therefore, Sanskrit is the container now. The knowledge is the content. Therefore, without container, it is very difficult to talk about the content. Therefore, the container has to be preserved, the container has to be in good shape, container has to be properly maintained, etc., etc. So therefore, that's very, very important. And the reason, I jokingly say this, I use today's terms to explain. Shankaracharya is a Malayali, Ramanuja is a Tamilian, Madhvacharya is a Kannadiga. I have used today's terms. Yet, when it came to talking intellectual matters, it was Sanskrit. At home, they would have used their Matrubhasha. Point I am trying to make is, for about 6,000, 7,000 years, there has been a language which has been the medium for intellectual transaction. We have no business to cut it off, because it is like throwing the baby with the bath towel. Therefore, Sanskrit is very important. And that's where I think organizations like Vyoma, who have taken upon this idea. In fact, when I met them 10 years back, I was blown off by their vision of using technology to drive Sanskrit. Because nobody thought about it at that time. And I think they have covered enough ground today. So therefore, I think marrying technology and bringing Sanskrit is very, very important. Now comes the content. Now there are so many things. Why do you need IKS? I'll give you one simple example. Last 50 years, 70 years, it's all about military power. Even now there is a little bit of all those being talked about. But I think for the next 100 years, next 50, 75 years, I think such societies which are able to show the kind of knowledge that they have been able to bring, that they are able to, leverage, or those who are going to be benefited. Therefore, this World Intellectual Property Organization, IPR regime, all has come in a big way. Now, this is where IKS is going to play a very important role. As many of you know, we are fighting needless battles on turmeric and neem and all that. In fact, when Mashelkar was the chairman of CSIR, 100 scientists were put for 10 years to fight on the use of turmeric with medicinal properties, which is a knowledge which is known in this country. Now neem powder is where we are fighting and so on.
The
patent regime. So in these next 50 years, leave even the other things. If you have to be not subjugated to again a slavery, and we have to ride the highway of IPR, I think I keep saying this in many places. I say, chemical engineer, please read some texts. There is a lot of material. I don't want to read everything. A metallurgist must read probably, Rasa Rastana Samuchaya, Rasa Arnava, Rasa, there are half a dozen Rasa texts. We can decide. you know, all the health professionals can read the three important works of Ayurveda. This is something which is required, otherwise we will lose out. This is one thing. Second thing, you know, I talked about this Alankara Shastra, you know, this Lagada's, Vedanga Jyotisha, right? And also we have this, all these, Yamata Raja Manasalagam, which I was mentioning.
Right.
Couple of professors I am able to recollect, they have found the entire binary transformations as part of it. You just take this Yamata Raja Manasalagam, where the discussion is about Hraswa and Dirgha, Guru and Lagu. And if you say Guru is equal to 0 and Lagu equal to 1, there are some beautiful algorithms which are, 2,000, 3,000 years old, which are all part of it, part of that Shastra that we have. So therefore, it is very important for us to first of all read, because without reading, what are we going to do? We have to first get into the text, understand the text as Krish was saying in its originality.
Right.
Otherwise, it is like seeing Raja Ravivarma's painting on a black and white photo. The substance is there, spirit is not there.
Right.
I think we should see Raja Ravivarma's painting in its own
color, authentic color.
That
right?
conveys the message. Therefore, such examples are plenty. Therefore, we need to ride on IKS. And IKS, which many of us are not aware, our Indians are very application oriented. They actually look for a solution. Even the entire mathematical texts are like that. They are not started with a theory and a proof and then application. Actually, the Indian mathematics is on the reverse. They first solve a problem. After solving the problem, let us formalize it.
Yeah.
See, Aryabhatta has given 3 possible ways of sign differences. There is one shloka, Baki, Maki, Taki, there is one 2-line shloka. The entire sign differences which we read in 2 pages in a clock's table is available in one shloka. So he gave a shloka, he gave a geometrical explanation of sign differences, and he gave an analytical proof of sign differences. So Leelavati also has a lot of such examples. It is full of asking the small girl child, what happens when you travel in a boat, there is a image which is traveling in this direction, how do you find the length, these kinds of questions. So I think IKS was very application oriented. We have to imbibe that culture. But to imbibe that culture, we should know the dharma of that.
Right.
That's where I think we may need to look at IKS. And Sanskrit can really play a very useful role.
Because we will be able to go back to the original text and read it in the original form. Absolutely true. So now that we have established that IKS is important and we need to take it to everybody, why is democratizing IKS important?
I think I would.
To you, sir.
See, if one has to practice this with discipline, understanding the meaning, understanding the philosophy behind it, each person has to have access to this, and they may pick bits and pieces when they practice this. That's fine, but they need to get access to this. It also allows them to understand the vastness, right? Understand, there's so much knowledge out there. Make sure that if they want to, they can go to any depth as they desire. It's also important for us to create a much larger group of people who will study this. Professor Mahadevan talked about 200 years of gap, but I feel that gap is actually 5,000 years. Because from oral tradition, we have lost some, because, it's lost in transmission. Then only few got captured as written, lipi, and, got captured. Even those texts are being lost. I am told that, for example, just the Madhva school in Kerala, right, of mathematics, there's so much texts out there, and now we don't even know where they are, right, because it's on palm leaf, and we don't know where they are. So we need many, many people. So ordinary people to understand and practice, Now, even things like, how do you practice yoga? How do you practice meditation? How do you get benefit? Why it is important on a day-to-day basis? How you stay healthy? To understanding the science, understanding the mathematics, understanding medicine. Today, for example, it's very clear to everybody that modern medicine is about cure and curative, whereas Ayurveda is about wellness, is about staying healthy, is about a lifestyle changes. Right? So both are now needed. And in fact, to me, Ayurveda is more important than curative, because then you can prevent the need for cure. So the relevance of this, and even in Ayurveda now, they have actually catalogued all the herbs that they could get access to, the combinations. If you have certain conditions, you need to take certain medicines or herbs, and you need to also think about food, which allows you to manage your health better, and what other things that you need to do, etc., etc. Now, we need to get, I believe, get to integrated medicine. This has to be now practiced along with curative and preventive. It has to become, so to me, and this is what I tell Professor Mahadevan whenever I meet him, we need to integrate Indian knowledge systems into every aspect of our life, every aspect of our education. It has to be part of mainstream education, not as standalone subjects. When you learn physics, we need to have Indian knowledge systems embedded in it, because how do you go from quantum mechanics to classical mechanics to Indian knowledge systems? Right? Where it's, because that linkage has to be established, and I believe it needs to be done, because that's the relationship. And where, something, in fact, there may be some things which are there in Indian knowledge systems which are probably applicable to quantum mechanics also. It's same thing everywhere, I believe. So we have to work towards doing this, which requires everybody.
Right.
This has to be a whole nation approach. I think this is something, again, I'm repeating, something that India can contribute to the world. And access is important. So leverage technology to reach the maximum number of people, the maximum number of students, the maximum number of teachers, maximum number of government people. In governance also these are relevant. So we need to get to everybody.
So it's not just...
Let me just add a little,
Please
give another dimension to the democratization.
Absolutely.
Democratization asmakam parampara vartate. Ekam udaharanam dasyami. We should ask, why did we not write a single book and said that's it? Even in religious matters. We could have written one book and said that's it. That's not the culture in this country. Take Shad Darshanas. All the 6 darshanas are talking about only one thing at the core. Jiva Jagat Ishvara Sambandha Varchaha Vartate. What is this connection between these 3 triangles? Individuals are there. There is some notion of God, and there is this, Jagat. What is every individual wants to connect these 3 in his, her own ways. Even there we have Astika Darshanas, we have Nastika Darshanas. So this is a culture here. Our culture is to create more and more and more versions of thinking about it, with a very healthy practice of agreeing with alternative views, but still moving the knowledge a few steps forward. Second evidence, if you read Mahabharata, this rishi who was sitting on the tree, on the tree bottom, when he looked at the 2 birds were burnt, there is a story. And the same rishi goes to get his alms. That lady is a little delayed. She comes and tells him, I am not like those 2 birds, you cannot burn me. So rishi was blown out. He said, he understood this lady is far better than him. She says, go to the forest, there is one butcher by name Vyada.
He will know.
A butcher called Vyada has Dharma Shastra. So this idea that these are all sectarian are all not narratives. You have to read to understand. It was available to everyone depending upon interest. That butcher had interest, he read it. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, all the Brahmins go to Ajata Shatru, who is a Kshatriya. So the first question he asks is, why are you coming to me? Then he says, no, you are the most learned, we want to learn from you. So you have to read the entire literature to understand that democratizing knowledge is a core belief of our culture. Therefore, we must do it, because we have understood by doing it, we will bring multiple perspectives and move it forward. Therefore, I think it is very, very important. I'll just add that dimension also.
Absolutely. I think it's important to not just revive, but also take it to each home and each person, right? So now that we have you here, I think I have to ask this question. What role does technology play in this whole democratization? I know you briefly touched upon it.
So, with internet, with computers, mobile technology, it's available at the palm of hands everywhere in the world. With the pedagogy that you create, you can I would take it one step further also, because we have to be current. And when I met all of you, I talked about it. I think we have to also take advantage of artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
Because with the Gen AI models now, the interconnections that exist within these texts, and Professor Mahadevan very nicely put it, everything has all of them encapsulated in this. It's our inability to fully understand and appreciate it. So let's use the power of the machine to understand the interconnections, the network effect that is there in all our, the multidisciplinarity that is there in all these texts. I think we need to leverage that also. It allows us to find maybe relationships that are buried deep and it's not visible. And so let's use the power of to understand it. So I hope that next step will use the reason why ChatGPT has really exploded on us is, again, it democratized it, right? Now you can just go there and ask the question, what are Upanishads? It will neatly explain to you succinctly. It will tell you, you can keep on asking questions. And the more questions you ask, the more it reveals and understand. So this is a beautiful technology that we can use to make it very interactive and learn at our own pace and things like that. So I hope that from linear to a non-linear format is what I believe now we will go into. And to understand fully something, you have to connect the dots. And connecting the dots is not connections that exist today, but we can also create new connections and things like that. I think the technology like AI now allows you to do that. So we need to take advantage of these things. I believe it will also probably reveal connections which we have not established it today. Because again, I feel that something has been lost over the years. So we need to leverage technology to even understand our own knowledge better. So I hope we do that. But again, let me compliment the hard work that has gone in to leverage modern technology to bring it to the palm of our hands and learning it at our own pace. Now you can understand the meaning, understand pronunciation, understand how you speak, etc., etc. So it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. So when we talk about technology, with that comes a risk associated. But before we get there, are there any successful examples which exist today in terms of democratizing IKS through technology? Is there anything that you can share?
No, I think it is a work in progress. I think it is still early to say. And I'll tell you the reason for it. I'll go back to my earlier, alluded to something about IQs. I said by its very nature, things were concise. So what happens is, this is where the biggest challenge is. The challenge is, if you take any mantra or any shloka, for example, from the large repository of scriptures that we have, it may be even in math, it may be even in architecture, it may be in Vedanta, it may be in psychology, whatever. What happens is, there is a vachyartha and there is a lakshyartha. I mean, one can use the grammatical tools and flawlessly translate the shloka. But unfortunately, the very tradition is such. I'll give the most frequent example. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, there is a nice shloka. It says, Uddaret atmana atmanam na atmanam avasadayet atmaiva bandhuhu atmanam atmaiva ripuratmanah. There are 7 atmas there. They have different meanings. So unfortunately, you cannot use atma and, so the implication of that, this is fine. I mean, we are aware of it. So what does it mean? That means the AI works on the content. AI works on the repository made available to it. So the biggest thing is, we need as many interpretations of every scripture quickly made available in the repository. Because, jokingly I say, what does AI do? There was one movie called Indiran. So this Rajinikanth says, TV a powder. The machine will just drop the TV, because podu means drop. That's what AI will do. I mean, you have to provide TV a powder, it just drops the TV and the whole thing broke. Switching on actually. That's a colloquial usage. Therefore, that's much easier. Although I gave an example. So, I think the dharmic content, the Sanatana dharmic content has to grow 1,000-fold, my own, immediately. Because, I wrote a book on Sanatana Dharma. I am giving my personal example. I wrote a book on Sanatana Dharma in Tamil. Because somebody said something, I immediately wrote a 70-page book to, put things in perspective. Then one of my good friend, he said, why don't you translate it into English? And another friend said, sir, use ChatGPT, it will do. I didn't know how to prompt it well. Reasonably, I prompted. But when I gave this book to ChatGPT, I got a different version of Sanatana Dharma now. That is because the content is not available. See, it is going by what is available. So the biggest challenge to create successful examples, which I think many are working, you have the AA for Bharat in IIT Madras, we have Ganesh Ramakrishnan of IIT, there are people trying and all that. Therefore, I am saying it will take a little time, but the most important implication is the dharmic content has to go in a big way, in which all traditional and modern scholars have to do their ahuti. Yes, sir.
You would like to add
So let me, my take on this is, see, the power of machine is the ability to connect, you gave the example of, 7 Atma and things like that, right? This only is possible if you actually now create a language model which is based on Sanskrit.
Right.
Right, so natively you have to build a language model which has Sanskrit as a basis. You can't have, because it's a language model, right? You start with English, which is all the basis for all the models today. I believe this will happen, right? And, Podu, Kokili we understand, right? We are not going to drop the TV because at least there's some sense in our brain. Now, how do we capture that? It has to be captured if the underlying knowledge is built in Sanskrit. And that's why, I said we have to now work on creating a language model where the basis is Sanskrit. Then into that we need to feed all the text that exists today and let the machine now make the connections and create the meanings and things like that. I hope that we do this. I even said, and I'm saying publicly, if some effort is there, I think funding should be available. I think even government is interested in making this happen. So we have to attempt to do this. We cannot, so this is why a foundational model has to be built in India. It has to be built on top of our cultural nuances and things like that. So we cannot get a model from outside and use it here. We can use it, but you know, sometimes meaningless responses back to us, or meaningless to us, at least to us, responses back to us. So we need to do this, and we have to leverage this. So you are leveraging the machine's capabilities, communication capabilities, etc. We need to take that forward and take full advantage of the machine's capability in AI also.
So keeping base as Sanskrit is very important when we leverage technology, which is what we are trying to do here. I know many of us here are, or not me, many of them are Jeshtas, but a lot of them who are watching online are young children, parents, teachers. Is there any message you would like to give them in terms of taking IKS, democratizing, taking this to the next generation?
Yes, I strongly believe that there is a treasure trove of knowledge. Take full advantage of this, and it will help you in every aspect of your life. It will help you in your work. It will help you become a better person. It will help you become healthy or healthier, and in every aspect of your life. So please take full advantage of this. This is something that is a gift to us, and take full advantage of this and start as early as possible. Something that I today regret, right, which is not knowing Sanskrit.
Your thoughts, Professor?
Yeah, I think I'll add, I think very nicely Krishji has concluded, but nevertheless I'll put three thoughts which I think are going forward in the next 5 to 10 years. Because I think by the end of 10 years, everything that we do, we are going to do it through the AI for everything that we are going to do. So there are, yeah.
No, I see. Even though you use a machine, it is always machine plus human. So we should not, machine is a tool, right? So we cannot take the person out of and the context has to be very clearly understood. It's man plus machine. We have to use the machine as a tool to help us. So that's how we need to see this as. We can't be controlled by a phone. We control the phone. Right? That's how we need to think about it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So three things. First thing, I think we need to, I think we need an Indian epistemology for the language model. Because as we all know, currently it's all Western epistemology. That is going to throw a lot of challenges. Therefore, I think this is one area we need to work. When we develop an LLM, large language models, we need to drive on the platform of Indian epistemology. I think that's a very important thing. I think in the next 5 years, we should really put our heads together and do it. Second thing, as I was saying earlier, I think we need to dramatically increase the dharmic content. That's where I see this OTT will play its role. I think we should dramatically increase the dharmic content with multiple interpretations. Therefore, even in a Western epistemology, if we are able to get into it, the chances of misfiring will come down. I mean, this is working only on algorithms of billion, parameters and things of that quintillion and things like that. Second. Thirdly, I think this effort has to happen only with a network of entities. I don't think we can just leave it to IITs or leave it even somebody like Vyoma. I may have some good people to actually contribute, and then we need great Maharajas like our Krishji. So I think all these, I think all these network would, because the resources are too few, the time is also too little in our hands. So if we can network and then get into this job, I think we will leave a legacy which we will be very satisfied of. That's all I'd like to say.
Great points there.
If we create the foundation model, then adding to the knowledge is a whole of nation approach. So we need as many people participating as possible. And that's what we will enable through democratization. So democratization is become a user, but also become a contributor.
Very well said, where every user also becomes a contributor. I think there are a few questions from...
Sir, I just wanted to add a little bit to what you said. I've been very fortunate to be working on a model for the last 3 months with somebody on Vedanta. A very simple way of doing this, and I really wish somebody would listen to this and extend it to other domains also, is that we not only need a model for Sanskrit, but we actually need a second platform on top of Sanskrit, which will be domain specific. Because the term, like for example, pratyaya means differently in different domains. For instance, in Vyakarana it means something, in Vedanta it means something else. So what has happened is, we used a simple method we took Swami Paramarthananda's classes. The transcription from the classes of about 45 texts, which runs to about 45,000 pages. We've just got a model trained on that. So it is completely aligned to the Vedanta terminology, and it seems to be working very well over the last 3 months now. That's why I'm able to speak today about it, because I was very, very skeptical initially. Even now, of course, people go and ask it stupid questions like, I'm feeling depressed, why don't you give me a Nididhyasanam script? That's too much. We can't treat it as a human being, but I think it's done a great job. The reason why I bring it up here is, if there are some people who are out there listening to this, say, who want to do something in the field of, say, medicine, astronomy, any of them, if we can even have 2 or 3 experts in each of these areas, and we're able to feed in this kind of data, I think we'll be able to do a lot, sir, in this area. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Bhagini. We have a few questions from the audience. The first one, it is observed that anything connected to Sanskrit is related to one particular community. How do we convince the Democrats that knowledge is universally applicable?
Well, I think we have 1,000 wrong assumptions. This is one of them. We have thousands of assumptions about, dogmatic, we have blind belief, like that. There's a long list. So this is one of them. I think there is a lot of counter examples we can give. I don't want to waste time. I just talked about Vyada, I talked about Ajata Shatru just as 2 examples. I don't think this was confined to a community. It was confined to interested people. Interested people can be, that is what it is today also. Knowledge is confined to only those who are the seekers. So therefore, I don't see much merit in this question, but this is a large misconception which we seem to suffer from.
So let me just use a different example here. We have a community of teachers, right? Why do we have that? That's a profession, they teach. So I think in olden days, there were certain people who were assigned this duty of preserving and transmitting this knowledge. It's a community. Today, everybody can participate. So we need to change the definition. So that's why I'm saying we have to reinterpret all these things to modern age. And the community of teachers now includes, because of technology, somebody sitting at home and teaching also, right? So the community of teachers is now anybody. I can be a student, I can be a teacher. So we need to reinterpret these things, and
I think we need to break that barrier.
Anybody who protects and transmits this knowledge is that community now.
But
Absolutely.
This is the most powerful model of Vyoma. The teachers are spread all over the world, not even the country. As you were saying, Krish was saying, they are the students and they are the teachers also, and the technology has enabled. Maybe we need to reposition the perspective.
I think the key is developing that interest you mentioned, Mahodaya, right? Like bringing the interested community together.
Yeah, and we would like everybody to participate.
There is another interesting one. With each state extremely emotional and passionate about their own regional culture and language, how does Sanskritam build a bridge between common people, and how does it relate to IKS?
These are all highly philosophical questions, and which has also, in today's environment, downsides also. See, I feel every language is very important because it captures a region, it captures a culture, captures a tradition, captures practices. It's all captured in that language actually, and every language is important, and we need to preserve this precious knowledge that is there. It's not about one language versus another language. In the context in which, in fact, it will be good to know as many languages as possible because you can easily switch based on the context and things like that, based on the ability to communicate to the person you want to convey something, etc. Now, the Sanskrit is important because the oldest scriptures or oldest texts are in Sanskrit. Right? And if you want to go back to those, and I think we need to learn, and the focus on Sanskrit is important because it's not a spoken language. It's a spoken language, probably a minuscule set of people. So that's why we have to take a lot more effort in reviving it. Right? It's not, against any language or over and above any other language. I think we need to preserve every language, just like we want to. But there is an additional effort required in Sanskrit because there is nobody speaking it today.
Right. I think it's not about disconnecting from your own language, right? It's learning something else.
70% of all Indian languages have their vocabulary in common with Sanskrit. Samskritattai savapettil potu aani adipom. 70% Sanskrit. It's a Tamil sentence. Shava, peti, aani, Samskrita, everything is Sanskrit. So even in a pure Tamil sentence, I find 60% Sanskrit words. It only adds to the cost. I think languages are important. All languages are important. Learning Sanskrit sometimes even make things, the connections are much better. That's all we can say.
Here is a different kind of question. How do you make corrections in the wrong interpretations which are already in the form of published books? This is one of the challenges that are faced, and we want your thoughts on that.
See, again, my thought here is, people will have wrong interpretations. I will not be able to change everybody, and we will not be able to change everybody. They will have their wrong interpretations. It's important for us to keep reinforcing the right interpretations, and hopefully, that's taken or that is accepted by more number of people. Everybody can have their own interpretations. It's very difficult to say, and if it's printed, right? Today, in fact, with social media, fake news travels faster because that's what makes social media interesting, right? If it keeps repeating the same thing, and people will lose, fake news travels much faster.
I think treating everybody like a child. I sometimes find saying the same things over and over, which is right to my children, right? So
you can do that to children. What will you do to adults? So it's okay. I think people can have their own opinions, etc. But what is right, if they're willing to enter into a dialogue, we can have a discussion. And there is no winner or loser. It's your view, my view. That's it.
Okay.
I think we should be inspired by Satyameva Jayate and Andritam. The long run, all these will cancel out.
It's all about ultimately search for truth.
That's very true.
Right?
Here is another one. One of the unique features of IKS was Gurukula system. How about bringing Gurukula system online?
Okay, I have little bit thought about this. Please understand that education has two levels. One level of education is to create a battery of experts. I mean, you need 10, 12 people who are absolutely experts in that chosen field. And then you need another level of education in which there are a lot of people who want to know. See, somebody wants to know math, somebody wants to do a PhD in math and then create a new theory in math. So there are two categories of people. So if you want to create a battery of extremely credible people, Gurukula model, and even today, we were, our Guru, when I was doing PhD, 6 of us, we actually cornered the publication for 7 years. 42 publications, anybody will say go there. So we were actually like Gurukula, we'll go to our Guru's house, we'll have food, we'll eat, but I was doing my PhD in IIT Madras. So point is to create credible, highly people who do the Sastra Poshanam, Rakshanam, Uchita Jananam, Nirmanam, Etat Esmabhihi Eti Karaniyam, Tadartam Gurukula Atyavashekam Bhavati, Gurukula Paddadhya Eva Esmabhihi Karaniyam. Whereas if you want to give knowledge for application for a lot of people to understand, we don't need the Gurukula. We can have so the Viharas of the Buddhists, the university system, the precursor to the university system is the Viharas of the Buddhas. Large interventions, I think both have to coexist. I don't want to buy this idea that whole of India we have to convert them into Gurukula. I think that's a wrong idea. We need only a battery of experts who will create their own Gurukula. It's a divergent cone of experts. But then you also need large institutions where we can take some ideas from Gurukula and then implement it in a university system. That's my view of things.
So let me give you a different view here. See, one is about knowledge, creation of new knowledge, and being an expert in the knowledge, which is one definition of a guru, where is a repository of knowledge. But in today's world, I believe that anybody we take, however he or she may be an expert, there is more knowledge outside that person, right? Because the rest of the world is much, much, much bigger than that one individual. And that individual may not have knowledge in everything, every aspect and things like that. So to me, a guru is somebody who helps you apply this knowledge. Maybe in the modern definition, the concept of a mentor, right? So he or she is a person who is helping you decide the right way, what is right, what is wrong, showing you the right path to move. In fact, the Shishya may have more knowledge than the Guru, but the Guru has more experience. So to me, the definition of Guru is wisdom. And wisdom is about knowing when to do what with the knowledge that you have. You may have lots and lots of knowledge, but then you will make mistakes after mistakes because you are not disciplined, you are not, with right attitude and things like that, and you apply it to the wrong things. You can use the knowledge to kill people, right? Is that right? So a guru is a person who actually points to you to go in the right direction. And that's why gurus are very important. And that's what our culture, I believe, tells you, that it's not about the amount of knowledge that you have, it's the ability to apply that knowledge in the proper way.
Very well said, sir. I think this is a great question to conclude our session. Democracy needs motivation to participate. People require motivation to even come out to vote to make a change. So in this era of info and infotainment, how do we bring about the element of motivation? I think your words will matter a lot.
This has become a much larger than just coming to inaugurate. And I think this is the challenge with internet era, right? This is going to be for posterity recorded and available online. It's a very difficult question to answer because democracy requires people to think and again do the right thing by electing the right person. Democracy, when it comes to government, etc., our concept of democracy is, choosing the right person for the rule. Representative form of government is what we are talking about. So we have to choose the right representative. But today we have party system, right? And within those parties, there may or may not be democracy. So what are we getting, right? At the end, we elect, but we are not, because the parties themselves are not democracy and things. So It's a very difficult question to answer. I think the concept is we understand what is needed to govern the country in the right direction, etc. So that's when you look at it from a government perspective. But to me, democratization is more important, which is give people the tools to decide for themselves, knowledge and ability to decide and ability to participate. I think ability to participate, ability to decide is what I think we can do as individuals, as Vyoma is doing that very well, giving them ability to participate, ability to decide, etc., the knowledge that's required and access, etc. And we hope that people make the right decision.
Anything to add, Mahodaya? Thank you so much. It's an honor sharing the stage with you.
Thank you all very much. I hope, again, I'm going to put a rider, which is, I'm giving you my personal beliefs and philosophy, sharing that with you. So I apologize if, I didn't make sense. Thank you.
हृत्पूर्वक धन्यवादाः महोदयाः. That was a very enlightening panel discussion on this uninterrupted civilizational corpus, a 3D corpus of Bharatiya Jnana Parampara as put by Professor Mahadevan ji. And both our distinguished panelists highlighted the importance of Patram, the container, which is Sanskritam, and the Vastu contained in it, and that the starting point for creating awareness about Bharatiya Jnana Parampara has to be through Sanskritam. And our very distinguished chief guest, Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan Mahodaya, very aptly pointed out the need to adapt and interpret this timeless wisdom to suit modern day needs and to take this to the world, which will be a unique contribution of Bharatam. He also highlighted the importance of making IKS a part of mainstream education, which is the need of the day. We also had an opportunity to listen to both of them about the role and relevance of AI in democratizing IKS. And as very aptly put by both our distinguished panelists, the culture of democratization is ingrained in Bharatiya Parampara. So indeed, it has been a historic day with a very enlightening discussion. And in order to carry this forward, we have the OTT launch next. But before that, I invite Dr. B. Krishnamurthy ji to felicitate our panelists. Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan ji and Professor Mahadevan ji. Your words of guidance will help humanity to take IKS and improve awareness in this regard. Now, Shri Ragupati Bhagini for the very structured panel discussion. And we'd like to share here that this shawl has been blessed and consecrated in Mahaperiyava's Adhishthanam, and this is truly a blessing for today. I request the dignitaries to remain on stage for the next part of the event. I now invite Srimati Rama Shivaraman Bhagini and Shri Vaidyanathan ji to join us on stage for the OTT launch. As a first step towards practically implementing whatever we heard in this very distinguished panel discussion about democratizing IKS through the use of technology, today Vyoma is very happy to launch the world's first Sanskrit e-learning in OTT format. I now request our very distinguished chief guest, Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan ji, to launch the world's first Sanskrit e-learning platform in OTT format. धन्यवादाः महोदय. History in making today, and it is a huge milestone for Sanskrit e-learning and for democratizing IKS through technology. We now have a brief video showcasing the primary features of the OTT.
Sanskritam, ancient wisdom reimagined for the modern world. No more scattered resources or confusing searches. Vyoma now brings its e-learning offerings together, all in one place. This is Sanskrit learning like never before, with rich multimedia content, e-books, audiobooks,
द्वितीयः चर्म मांसरुधिरं संयोजितवान्.
podcasts,
सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः.
videos, and game-based learning. Your personal SSS coach supports you every step of the way, from novice to expert. Hear every syllable right and study seamlessly anytime, on any device. Generated over 15 years with the wisdom and knowledge of more than 100 scholars. Entrusted by thousands. It's authentic, inclusive, and affordable. A rich collection of Samskrita stotras, kavyas, lectures, and more in OTT format. Immerse yourself in Ramayanam, Bhagavatam, Raghuveera Gadyam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit games, vocabulary builder. Augment your Vedantic journey through curated books and countless other treasures. Explore free and premium plans, all with one simple subscription. digitalsanskrit.com, the world's first Sanskrit learning platform in OTT format. Begin your Sanskrit journey today.
Wonderful. We have stalls today where you could explore the new platform digitalsanskrit.com and subscribe to it. We request everyone to visit the stalls after the event. So you will find the stalls just behind in the dining hall set up both in the ground floor and the first floor. So please do visit and subscribe to this Sanskrit OTT. Okay. We have received a few questions on the OTT platform. I request Vishwam Mahodaya to address those queries.
Sarvebhyah namaskaraha. Angla bhashaya vadami. The first question which many of us have asked is, what is the difference between the existing Sanskrit from Home portal and this new OTT? And the next corollary question is more interesting. Will SFH continue or should all of us come to this? This is the question which has come in some of the notes. So just to explain, vyoma-samskrta-pathasala, we have three kinds of seva offerings. The first is the courses which are done as live webinars or as pre-recorded. These live webinars are also recorded and stored into the repository which is currently in the sanskritfromhome.org website. That is the website which in the introduction we were telling, we have reached around 1 lakh committed learners who are taking up courses on that. Now this course website will continue as it is. More courses will be launched. That is a mainstream work, daily bread and butter. So that will continue, both live and pre-recorded. And those videos are also stored in YouTube for people who are more comfortable using it there. The videos will be there. In the portal, we will have the audio, PDF, the contents which are also there. And all of these is now available in an app, both in iOS and in Android. These will continue as it is, no change, that will happen. Now what also happened is, we had multimedia products, game-based learning products using Adobe Articulate, games, many such products. Also the audio recorded in studios which were there, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana Ratnamala, Saptaha Stotra, Ashtadhyayi Sutra Pata, all of these were earlier given in CDs. Then we put it on some media. But now what we said, we will bring all of these. And the other part was, we have the publications, curated publications, Professor Mahodaya's books and many other books are there. Now all of these, individually if I have to take a book, it may cost 200 rupees. A multimedia CD 200 or these kind of things were there. We said we will make it further affordable and accessible. All of these publications have been converted to e-books. They have been sorted as per genres and they have been stored in this platform. So just at 49 rupees per month, which is the platinum subscription per month, we get access to all the 15 years of work on these products and publications, which is also done today. So this is what comes into the OTT platform. So both will continue. The OTT, we will also be building high quality convenience. So knowledge is always accessible and free, which is there in SFH. Any convenience which is added to it comes into the OTT, and a nominal subscription which can sustain Vyoma in the longer run is being envisaged. That is the first part. Yeah.
Your Sandhi Samasartha
Yeah. So the Sandhi product, so we have a e-learning product on Sandhi, a product on Samasa, which like Samasa, if you see 1.5 years, 12 PhD scholars have spent on that and done that product. So people consider it a very useful product. So those are also available in this, but this will be done on a pipeline basis. Initially we have around 200 offerings now. Some will come on monthly basis, some on quarterly. It will be slowly updated so that people can enjoy it on a content. And the genre will be very useful. If you are a Vedanta student, click on Vedanta, all content comes. Slowly we are also trying to work on the search button, wherein the content also it tries to search. AI based search, we are also working on it. By God's grace we should be able to. So all content within the OTT, inside the textbooks you can search. So that is also being worked on. So those kind of convenience features are being added there. The next question some of our other organization friends have asked, can we put, and even individuals who have developed contents are asking, can we put our content into this OTT? And can you become a marketplace for all Samskrita, Samskriti, Samskara organizations? So the simple answer as per our board advisors is, yes, we will be able to do it. Only thing we request a small lead stabilization time to see how the platform works, what is the load balancing. We just want to for some time, and after that we will be reaching out, we will be discussing, and like Alvar Mahodaya Samskriti, lot of amazing treasured content is available. We can always have a separate page, just like a Prime has a Discovery or a Lionsgate, we can have similar to that, and we can have those content also by Bhagavad Sankalpam. These are some questions, and of course one other interesting question came. Somebody asked me, why are you doing such an event for a Sanskrit website? So that was also, I thought I just discussed, they said you can always answer that also. So the first thing is, in our 15 years now, after 450 courses, 20 products, 20 publications, this is the first such launch event which Vyoma is doing. And as our advisors told, this is not an expense, it's an investment, so that we can collaborate more. This reaches a larger audience and people are able to appreciate. Good things have to be spread, and whatever effort you take to it is always in the good direction. So you should be having more such events is what they say. Thank you. Ram Ram.
Dhanyavadaha Vishwam Mahodaya for those clarifications, and also for highlighting the convenience of accessing content through this OTT platform. It's a great contribution to Sanskrit e-learners across the globe. We now have the launch of a very interesting product for children. Shishur Veti, Pashur Veti, Veti Ganarasam Pani. We are all aware of the magic music creates in the minds of everyone, and especially young minds are instantly attracted to music. Vyoma has come up with an attractive book with rhymes and songs in Sanskrit for children, a great way to introduce them to this Deva Bhasha. We now have the screening of a short video capturing the essence of the book.
At Vyoma, we believe every child deserves a joyful connection to our Samskrita, Samskriti and Samskara. Our vision is to nurture children with timeless values through language, culture and heritage.
चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् वन्यमृगवर्गः wild animals सिंहः lion चित्रोष्ट्रः giraffe Kiki, fox.
From interactive courses and digital products to curated publications, Vyoma's offerings are designed to engage young minds, one joyful experience at a time. From learning Sanskrit words through fun multimedia tools to chanting shlokas with audio support, we have digital products for every stage of learning. We also offer interactive courses from short-term workshops to long-term immersive programs. Vyoma Gurukulam is a flagship 3-year online after-school program for children aged 6 to 12, offering a joyful foundation in Sanskrit, shlokas, bhajans, stories, and Indian culture, all through playful, structured learning. Our curated publications are thoughtfully designed for every age group, so every child finds something just right for them. And now, we present a heartfelt addition to this journey, Samskara Bijani, Samskrita Geetani, Sanskrit rhymes for little minds. This one-of-a-kind Sanskrit rhyme book is designed for toddlers and young children and authored by renowned Sanskrit scholars. With 30 joyful rhymes in Sanskrit, captivating culture-rich illustrations, transliteration and English translation for easy learning, QR code access to audio recordings with illustrations, all rooted in Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, our Indian knowledge systems. Carries a subtle samskara, helping children absorb values through repetition, play, and memory. More than a book, this is a parenting companion, answering the question, how can I raise a culturally rooted child? It encourages storytelling and daily engagement, creating a strong foundation in Sanskrit, values, and family bonding. Gift this book for birthdays or events or sponsor it for rural schools through our RTG initiative. A timeless treasure for every child, affordably priced. Samskara Bijani, Samskrita Geetani. Because every child deserves to experience the joy of Sanskrit, Indian culture, and timeless values.
This is indeed a great way to sow the seeds of Samskrita, Samskriti, Samskara, consciousness in young minds who will be the torchbearers of IKS in future. We are very happy that Dr. Ramakrishna Pejataya Mahodaya and Professor Jayaraman Mahadevan Mahodaya, who have both contributed mellifluous rhymes to this compilation, have joined us today. I invite both of you on stage for the launch. Dr. Ramakrishna Jataya Mahodaya is an associate professor at Chanakya University's Center for Indian Knowledge Systems, Bengaluru. He is a renowned poet, scholar, and a skilled practitioner of Avadhana, awarded the title of Ashtavadhana Vichakshana by Sri Sri Vidyadhisha Tirtha Swamiji. Dr. Jayaraman Mahadevan Mahodaya is a distinguished Sanskrit scholar and yoga researcher heading the Department of Yoga and Spirituality at S. Vyasa University. He is an expert in Tantra Yukti, Indian methodology for thesis construction, and also a well-known poet who has authored several collections of poems and articles. He was awarded the Samskrita Grantha Puraskara in 2021 by Karnataka Sanskrit University. I now request Shri Vaidyanathan ji to launch the book Samskara Bijani, Samskrita Geetani. From vyoma-samskrta-pathasala courses to receive a copy of the book Satvika, Ramakrishna, Sriprada Raghunath, Dhruv and Samhit. The beautiful, catchy illustrations we see in the book are created by the Antimatter Collective team. They have designed the book, making it very attractive to children. We invite Risha Udumudi and Shri Teja Gurram from Antimatter onto the stage to receive copies of the book as a token of our gratitude. We also request Shri Vaidyanathan Mahodaya to present a copy of the book to Srimati Rajalakshmi Nandakumar, who leads the Kids Persona initiatives at Vyoma. Special thanks to our sponsors, Shri Mukund Padmanabhan ji, gift to your children. I now invite Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan ji to felicitate Shri Vaidyanathan Mahodaya.
Next grammar book.
धन्यवादाः. अर्थप्रवृत्तितत्त्वानां शब्दा एव निबन्धनं तत्त्वावबोधशब्दानां नास्ति व्याकरणादृते. A verse from Bhartrihari's Vakyapadiya highlighting the importance of Vyakaranam, grammar in Sanskrit. The essence of the meanings and their usage is bound solely to words. A proper understanding of words is not possible without Vyakaranam, grammar. One cannot emphasize enough the importance of Vyakaranam for a Sanskrit student. Vyakaranam is the life breath of Sanskritam. In order to facilitate structured learning of Vyakaranam with conceptual clarity and application-based exercises, Vyoma has come up with a 5-part series on Sanskrit grammar, the first volume of which is going to be launched today. We now have a brief screening of a video regarding the grammar book to be launched.
I am a beginner in Sanskrit. Where do I learn grammar?
My school board exam is close. I need to revise everything fast. But how?
Preparing for NET is tough, especially without clear references for grammar. How do I handle it?
I want to truly understand Vedanta, but without grammar, the texts feel difficult. Where do I start?
Some verses in my dance course are in Sanskrit. How do I understand them without any background?
I want to begin learning Paninian grammar. What should I study to build a strong foundation?
My Chittur exam is near, but I need a stronger grip on grammar. What should I study?
I want to make Sanskrit engaging through exercises and projects. But where do I find the right resource material?
Vyoma is offering a one-step solution for all of these questions in the form of Samskrita Vyakarana Pradipika, a comprehensive guide to basic Sanskrit grammar and composition, a 5-volume book series. The 5 volumes are Varna Vichara, Pada Vichara, Pratyaya Vichara, Samasa Vichara and Vakya Vichara. Each volume consists of a main textbook and an exercise book. The features of this book are as follows. Chapter overview provides an outline of the key concepts in this chapter to facilitate clear and easy understanding of each concept. Did you know prerequisites and learning outcomes? These provide thought-provoking questions which are designed to spark curiosity along with clear prerequisites and learning outcomes. Commit to memory. Helpful definitions and rules presented to support easy recall and retention. Concept and action. See how grammar rules work through real examples for better clarity. Watch and learn. This book is accompanied by access to digital courses, which serves as the most unique feature. Summary. A brief recap of the chapter's key points to revise at a glance. Projects and previous day of examinations. Practice key questions with guidelines to boost your exam scores. Tell me more. Additional pointers related to the concept to foster deeper understanding. Innovative exercises in line with NEP 2020. Over 1,200 practice questions along with answer key for self-evaluation. Vyoma Linguistic Labs Foundation presents the first volume of Samskrita Vyakarana Pradipika, Prathamaha Bhagaha Varna Vicharaha Sandhishcha. Part 1, Sounds of the Language and Their Modifications. Learn Sanskrit, be happy, be really happy.
That sounds great. In several fora that Vyoma has been a part of, there were constant requests from IKS enthusiasts for a bilingual book which could help them learn Vyakaranam easily. And now we have an answer to those requests in the form of this book. This book has been blessed with Ashirvachanam by veteran Vyakarana scholar Mahamahopadhyaya Shri Soti Nagaraja Sharma Mahodaya and Professor Srinivasa Varakedi Mahodaya has contributed and blessed us with his foreword for this book. It is indeed our Saubhagya that Professor Mahadevan Mahodaya, a veteran in the field of IKS, is launching this book today. I now invite Professor Mahadevan Mahodaya to launch Volume 1 of Samskrita Vyakarana Pradipika. Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. I now call upon Shri Panju Krishnan Mahodaya on stage. Who taught Vyakaranam to our very own Shri Venkata Subramanian Mahodaya during his childhood days. And this book is the brainchild of Shri Venkat Mahodaya and is his dream project. As we all know, Yadyapi Bahunadhishe Tathapi Putra Patha Vyakaranam. As though to make this a reality, we today have the release of this grammar book. I also request Shri Mahadevan Mahodaya to share a copy of this book with Saumya Bhagini and Srimati Sriranjani Vijay Kumar, who are the key content developers for this book. We are very grateful to Kadur family Kadur family and Shivaraman family for sponsoring this book. The grammar book and the workbook are available with a special inaugural discount. You may purchase the book using the QR code displayed on the screen. The QR code may please be displayed on the screen, or by visiting our stalls after the event. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Shravanam, or listening, is the first among the Navavidha Bhakti enumerated by Prahlada. As we have seen in some of our Sanskrit from Home courses, learning through continuous listening is very impactful. To facilitate a convenient mode of continuous learning through listening, Vyoma has come up with convenient portable audio device offerings. Today, Vyoma is launching 2 new audio devices, Ashtadhyayi Sutra Pata and Bhagavad Gita. Ashtadhyayi has been rendered with impeccable pronunciation by 2 traditionally trained scholars, Dr. Vinayak Rajat Bhatt Mahodaya and Dr. Nagendra Pavana Mahodaya. Dr. Nagendra Pavanaji has also recorded the complete Bhagavad Gita for us. We are very happy to have Dr. Vinayak Rajat Bhatt with us today. He is a distinguished Sanskrit scholar and a professor at Chanakya University, Bengaluru. He specializes in Vyakaranam and Jyotisha. In addition, he is well known for his contributions to the field of IKS and has co-authored a textbook, Introduction to Indian Knowledge System, with Professor B. Mahadevan ji. I invite Dr. Vinayak Bhatt ji for the Lokarpanam of the audio devices. We now have a brief video on the audio devices to be launched today.
Namaste. Presenting the Vyoma audio device. A simple and powerful way to bring daily Sanskrit learning and chanting into your life. The audio box series consists of 5 enriching products: Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Saptaha Stotra Sangraha, Ramayana Ratnamala, Ashtadhyayi Sutra Patha, and Srimad Narayaniyam Companion. Let us now unbox one of these devices. Let's take a look at what's inside. The audio device, a charging cable, the charger, warranty card, the user guide, the content sheet, use this button to switch the device on or off. Here is the volume button. This is the play or pause button. You can quickly move to any chapter by doing a quick press of the chapter number. You can switch to the previous chapter or go to the next one very easily by using these up and down arrow buttons. You can change the mode to radio, Bluetooth, and back to SD mode. You might wonder, when all these contents are easily available online, why should you invest in this audio device? Because this device has numerous benefits over the freely available online content. First, this device can be easily operated by both children and adults, especially senior citizens. It is simple, compact, and a practical solution to hear and also to learn chanting. Also, these devices work offline. There is no need of any internet connection. Most of the apps mix devotional chants with movie tracks and are a huge distraction. But with this device, there are no ads, no distractions, there are no monthly subscriptions or fees. The sound quality is clear and loud enough for a small to medium-sized room. This device is great for reducing screen time. Also note that this device can be used by different types of learners, like a novice learner who wants to have repeated chanting, a progressive learner who wants to learn clear pronunciation, or a devotee who wants to engage in undisturbed Parayanam for 3 to 4 hours. If you are looking for a peaceful, focused, and easy way to chant every day, then Vyoma audio device is the perfect companion.
I request Srimati Rama Shivaramanji to launch the audio devices for Ashtadhyayi and Bhagavad Gita. In addition to these which are being launched today, Vyoma also has audio devices with complete Sriman Narayaniyam chanted by Sri Shankara Rama Sharma, Ramayana Ratnamala and Saptaha Stotra Sangraha, two popular audio products of Vyoma which are also available in this format. Details are available on the screen and also in our stalls. I now invite Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan ji to felicitate Srimati Rama Shivaraman Bhagini.
रसमां नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् येनाक्षरसमां नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः येन अथ
Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. We now have the Vyoma newsletter launch. I invite Shri Vishwanathan Ganeshan ji, member of Vyoma Executive Working Committee, onto the stage for the launch of the newsletter. Shri Vishwanathan Ganeshan ji is a qualified chartered accountant with over 3 decades of experience in finance and information technology. He is currently the Joint Secretary of Amar Seva Sangam, playing a leadership role in shaping its development and community impact. Shri Vishwanathan Ganeshan ji is also guiding Vyoma in the areas of organization development and sustainability. I request Shri Vishwanathan Ganeshan ji to launch Volume 8, Issue 1 of the Vyoma newsletter, highlighting the key events from the past 8 months. Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. Thank you. newsletter is also available online on vyoma.org in the newsletter section. I now request Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan Mahodaya to felicitate Shri Vishwanathan Ganeshan ji. We have witnessed the Lokarpanam launching of several exciting products and services from Vyoma today. We have set up stalls in the dining halls on both the floors dedicated to each of these offerings. If you wish to support or contribute to our cause, we have stalls set up for volunteering and contributions. We request all of you to please visit these stalls after the program, and lunch prasadam also awaits you after the program. We are now entering the last phase of the event. We request your patience and cooperation for a few more minutes. Karta karayita chaiva prerakashchanu anumodakah sukrite dushkrite chaiva chatvaraha samabhaginaha. For Vyoma to offer all its seva offerings, we have an army of senior mentors, committed teachers, volunteers, donors, consultants, supporting organizations backing us. We are indebted to each one of them for their invaluable contributions. We now call upon our supporters in various forms to accept a small token of our gratitude. Dr. Soumya Krishnapur Bhagini will now take over to do the honors and convey a formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Soumya Bhagini.
Namasarvebhyaha. As Vrinda Bhagini mentioned, it's a rare occasion for Vyoma because most of our resources are usually spread across various places across the globe. We have many of our long-time supporters here with us today. I request them to please come and accept a humble token of gratitude. Collaboration with organizations is a key foundational principle of Vyoma, and we have several representatives from many organizations here today to support us. We request Professor Mahadevan to present them with a small token of our gratitude. Shri M.A. Alvar from Samskriti Foundation. He is a veteran scholar of Nyaya Shastra, and I have to remember his father, Professor Lakshmi Tatachar, was one of the earliest supporters, and he gave us the ideas for our first product, Pala Modini. Lakshmi Narayana Mahodaya from Vishwakshema Gurukula. Satish Mahodaya from Samyak Foundation.
Shri N.S. Suresh Mahodaya from the Shiva Saraswati Sabha. Shri B.B.K. Shastri Mahodaya from the Yoga-Samskrita University in the USA. Shri Ajit Padmanabhan from Who We Are. Shri Vinay Kulkarni from Alchemy. Srimati Lata from our mother organization, Geeta Govinda Samskrita Sangha. Srimati Nagaveni Bhagavat, who is a member of the governing council of Bharati Vidyalaya School. Venkata Narasimha from Startup Sanatana. We have Dr. Jayaraman Mahadevan from the S. Vyasa University. This is Dr. Ramakrishna Pejataya and Dr. Vinayak Pejat Bhatt from Chanakya University. Next, we have several senior resources with vast experience who are helping us with various critical areas for sustainability and scaling. First, we have Srimati Brinda Karanam, who is a lawyer who helps us with the legal consultant. She is a very popular teacher on Vyoma, and she has been the MC today who conducted the event with her usual grace. Then we have Shri B.K. Shivkumar, who is a very senior consultant with vast expertise who helps us with proposals and fundraising. Srimati and Shri Aruna and Satish Vayuvedu, Shri Prakash Ramanathan, Shri Sundar Chandramouli, Srimati Sheshambal and Shri Hrishikesh, Shri Kartikeyan Mahodaya, Sundar Chandramouli. He is the head of the project director of the Bangalore International Airport Limited, BIAL. He has been a very strong supporter. Kartikeyan Mahodaya, Shri Anand Bhaktan and Kumari Namita, Srimati Sheshambal and Shri Hrishikesh. Shri Kartikeyan Mahodaya from GGSS. Kumari Namita, we have many partners and vendors whose collaboration is critical for our projects and services. We have from Antimatter Collective, Trisha and Teja. Aditya, he has helped us with the event management today and all the technical and sound support for other partners. If they are here, we request them to come. Edmingal, who is our LMS partner. Yeah, these are and Sriranga sir, Pranava Studios, Pranava Iyengar, Vishnu Daya, who are our auditors, Sri Satyanarayana, who has provided us our office building, Sandhya, Narayana Kuti, who has helped us with the media. Helping us with the media coverage for this event. Many people from our Acharya Varga are here with us today, our beloved teachers who are the backbone of all our courses. We request Srimati Rama Shivaraman to honor them. Srimati Uma Sharma,
Srimati P.R. Gayatri, Srimati Purnima Prasad, Srimati Mamata L.S., Srimati Gayatri P.R., Mamata L.S., Sri Nagendra Karthik, Sri Rajesh Anandaramu, Srimati Sandhya Rajesh, Sri Manoj Rajarao, Sri Raghunandana R, Srimati Sudha Shrikant, Srimati Sampada Vikandur, Kumari Prithvi Shanoy, A major load of Vyoma's work is shared by our volunteers who work day and night to achieve several tasks behind the screens, without whom our daily machinery would come to a standstill. We request them to please come. Sri Nagesh Kumar, Srimati Sharmila C.K., Sri Sachidananda Mahodaya, Sri Kumar Shankar Mahodaya, Srimati Ranjani Niranjan, Kumar Shankar Mahodaya, Srimati Sushila Venkatraman, Sri Vishwanathan N, Srimati Revati Bhatt, Srimati Saumya Ramesh, Srimati Smita H.S., Sri Muralidharan Mahodaya, Srimati Shubhada is a subhashita which condemns ungratefulness as the greatest sin, which has no prayashchitta. As we reach the last leg of this memorable event, it is our duty to offer our gratitude to each of you who has supported us in multiple ways. At the outset, on behalf of Vyoma Labs, I offer our heartfelt gratitude to Sri Senapati Chris Gopalakrishnan ji for gracing this occasion as our chief guest. Your vision for a culturally rooted and technologically empowered Bharata inspires us all, Mahodaya. Our deep thanks to Professor B. Mahadevan for his timeless insights blending Shastra and management and his constant support in all our endeavors. I also offer our gratitude to Srimati Vanishri Raghupati, whose devotion and clarity anchored the panel so beautifully. We thank Sri K. Vaidyanathan ji for gracing today's event and launching one of our major publications.
We are blessed by the presence of our guiding elders, Srimati Rama Shivaraman, Dr. B. Krishnamurti, and Sri Vishwanathan Ganeshan, who are each shaping Vyoma's path with wisdom and compassion. Special thanks to Brinda Bhagini for conducting the event with her trademark grace and ease. We thank the authorities of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan for providing us the venue, and Sri Chandru and his team for the required technical support for the event. Sri Aditya from Art Coach for managing the event, the sound and light systems. We also thank Sri Srinivas, who has helped provide the prasada from Lakshmi Narasimha Temple, Malleshwaram, for today's event. We thank the team from NTPC Limited and each site who have provided the financial support for this event. We also thank Sri Narayan Kutty Mahodaya for the PR support, of the media and press who are here to cover the event. On behalf of Vyoma, we thank all the scholars, teachers, vendors and associates, donors, volunteers, students and well-wishers who are present here. Finally, I'd like to convey our gratitude to all members of the Vyoma team for being with us, our employees, consultants and freelancers and interns who have worked day and night to bring each of the projects, the services and publications to reality. Inspired by the guidance and support received today, let us continue our efforts for the spread of Samskrita, Samskriti, Samskara with renewed energy and commitment. Let us end the event with a Shanti Mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Prasadam vartate.
We request all of you to please accept the bhojana prasadam and then only leave. Please do also.
Temple prasadam.
It is a prasadam from the temple, so please do stay with us for it. We also have stalls in the both the floors. Please do visit and provide your valuable feedback. Lokas samastas sukhino bhavantu. Ram Ram Ram. Dhanyavadaha. Ananta Ananta Namaskara. Jayatu Samskritam. Jayatu.